Hi everyone, I'm Chantay. I'm back. It's been a while. School has kept me, and I'm going to be busy with school, doing more schoolwork. Hey Joseph, I'm going to be doing more schoolwork tomorrow. I need a break because I just did my project, which was 100 slides and a lot of definitions, and that's just only stage one of my project. So that's grad school life. But I'm here with, my daily spiel. I miss everyone, and I hope everyone is well with school, work, whatever you got going on in your life, entrepreneurship, especially in this time, in this day and age of the coronavirus. So that's where we are. Hey, Jan, with the coronavirus. So I'm just going to get to the numbers. So around the world, we are now at 30 million cases of COVID. 30,059,896 cases in 187 countries, according to the Johns Hopkins website. It is public knowledge. You can go on there. The death toll globally is at 944,358. Yikes. Here at home in the U.S., we account for a fifth of those cases. We are at, I think you could catch it on YouTube. They got some clips. Some people post the whole thing, so you can watch that. 6,672,222 cases in the U.S. We are at 6.7 almost. I won't be surprised we'll reach 7 million by the end of this year, or probably more. The death toll is at 197,590 in the U.S. Countries with high cases, India is right behind us with 5.1 million, 5,118,253, followed by Brazil at 4,458,386. Russia has 1,081,152. Peru has 744,400. Colombia has 736,377. Mexico has 684,113. South Africa has 655,572. And Spain has 625,657. And Argentina rounds out that top 10 with 601,713. Latin America, some countries like Dominican Republic is at 106,000. Dominican Republic is at 106,136. Panama is at 104,138. Guatemala is at 83,644. Honduras is at 69,660,000. And Africa nations, you have Africa at 56,000. Not Africa. Nigeria at 56,735. And African nations, that's Nigeria. We all know that South Africa has the highest numbers. You have Ghana at 45,153. Cameroon's 20,303. And Senegal at 14,618. In the West Indies, we already know Haiti has 8,556. We got Jamaica at 4,374. Bahamas at 3,100. Trinidad is before 3,434. You have Bahamas at 3,177. Guyana at 2,027. Belize at 1,536. Barbados is at 185. Antigua 95, St. Vincent 64, St. Lucia 27, Dominica 24, Grenada 24, and St. Kitts, after all, it still remains at 17 cases of COVID-19 on the globe. Now I'm going to draw the attention to the New York Times COVID map for the states. Here at home, the top 10, California is almost at 800,000, 775,554. Texas, 710,035 cases, and their death toll is at 14,886. I'm going to get into Texas in a minute. Florida is at 674,448. New York is at 451,971. Georgia, 284,219. Illinois, 271,370. Arizona, 211,663. New Jersey, 200,152. North Carolina, 190,307. And Tennessee rounds up that top 10 with 175,733. Let me read some comments. Oh, thank you, Joseph. You think schools in New York State are going to open fully this year? I don't think so. With the kids going into school later than what it's supposed to be, because they were all supposed to go back next Monday, but instead I think kindergarten and pre-K is supposed to go back next week, and then the following week is supposed to be K through 6 or K to 8th, and I think high school is supposed to go back the first week in October. But from the likelihood of the second wave coming, I highly doubt that school will open fully this year, because remote learning is still possible and their parents are still leery about sending their kids to school. I have friends that are parents, some that are still living in New York, and it's not looking that great. Not looking that great. They're likely going to keep their kid home. And honestly, I don't blame it, because kids are susceptible to this virus like adults, and including senior citizens. We are all susceptible. And I see that Missouri is rising in cases too, and their governor is, I don't think he issued a mask mandate, if I'm not mistaken, Jan. Let me know if that ever happened. But yeah, no. And I hope that answers your question, Joseph. And speaking of Texas, according to Twitter, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is increasing the occupancy of businesses up to 75%. Keep in mind, Texas has over 700,000 cases. Thanks, Jan, for letting me know about your governor. Keep in mind, for almost 15,000 people dead. Their death toll is about to surpass New Jersey's. So the simple fact is, Texas has 710,000 cases, over 710,000 cases of COVID. They're increasing their occupancy. That's ass backwards. They should be shutting their whole state down. California, I don't know if California shut down, because they almost have 800,000 cases, and they're dealing with wildfire issues. They're dealing with two issues in one. And the same, I think, with Louisiana. The southern part of the South is dealing with some stuff. Even Florida. And they still got rising cases. And Texas and Florida and Georgia governors are just completely stupid. Along with some Midwestern governors, too. Yeah. But they're all following the lead of Donald Trump, who basically is like rushing to get a vaccine. And I think this vaccine that he's pushing, I don't think, honestly, it's safe. I think he's not allowing scientists like Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, because you don't see them at press conferences with him. He does this shit by himself, or he asks Dr. Atlas and I think Azar. Like, are you kidding? Like, what? No. So people who still listen to him and that continue to not wear their mask, you will end up like Herman Cain. And I don't mean that to be mean, evil, or facetious, but I'm talking straight facts. Those who continue to be deplorable and not wear their mask to save lives, you will end up like Herman Cain. And that's all I'm saying. But enough about COVID. Barr's statements about the mask, because it is a part of COVID. Damn it. He compared it to slavery, and his comment said like wearing a mask is or having a national lockdown is like slavery. It's like torture. How the hell You compare a national lockdown to keep people safe and wearing masks to slavery, when slavery was not a choice, it was not safe, because my ancestors were slaves, beaten, sodomized, raped. I don't get that connection, because that's a huge disconnect. And it's a deplorable and despicable ass comment to compare slavery to wearing a mask to save your fucking life. It's a disrespect to African Americans, including Afro-Latinos and Afro-Caribbean people who were slaves. And we need to slow the spread. We need to do anything we can. And mask is a big major part, but a huge is also mitigation. Mitigation is social distancing. Keeping your distance from the outside people, to not be in large gatherings. I see on my Facebook timeline, my Instagram timeline, my Twitter timeline, that everybody is relaxing on social distancing. It's utterly crazy. It's reckless and it's dangerous. And I know some folks are my friends on Instagram. They may not like what I have to say, but you in large gatherings with friends and hugging each other and not wearing your mask, what you're doing, you are spreading coronavirus to your family members. That includes your children, your significant other, your parents, and your grandparents, if you still have them around, and aunt and grand aunties. You need to think about what you can do to slow the spread and save lives. What I'm doing, I'm staying away from my parents. I'm staying away from my mother, my father, and my sisters, and my brother-in-law. Even though I don't go out, but sometimes I'm in the public. I go to the store, I walk downtown. Like, people need to be smart. And the best way you can be smart is not be in large gatherings. We miss our loved ones, we miss our friends, but if you want to keep them around, you stay the hell away from them. And it does go down south. I have family members down south. Some of my family members been staying away from each other. They've actually been pretty smart. But people around them, from what my aunt's been telling my mom, because as you know, if for those who don't follow me, my mom is from South Carolina. But my mom currently lives, still lives in New York, still working. My aunt's been telling her that there's people that they know that still go to church. Like, absolutely craziness. And the reverends are not being conscientious enough to say, let's do virtual services. Most of your members are old. There's a lot of old people that lives, especially in South Carolina. We want to protect our elderly, our grand aunties, our elderly neighbors, elderly mom and pops and of the neighborhood, so they can see 2021. What is going on? It's negligence, but all of this comes from up top. And I keep saying this. People listen to the words of the leader of the free world, which is Donald Trump. It's sad that this man, which I always knew as a native-born New Yorker, that this man doesn't keep his promises and he's reckless and dangerous with his mouth. So for folks who are still listening to Donald Trump and still supports him, you are deplorable and stupid as hell. And that's that. And people still party like it's nothing. I already said my message. You keep spreading COVID, you're going to catch COVID, and going to spread it to a family member of yours, and they're not going to end up surviving, or going to have like lifelong complications. But yeah, Barr's comments are deplorable. But enough of his deplorableness. The email from the Trump administration. It's so sad because my agenda says COVID-19 federal response stats and Trump's hoax response, which I already covered that, and then it tied into Barr's statements, and now this email that he put out, because I have it listed here. I'm just going to read some of the stuff. This came from the NBC News. Senior Health and Human Services official internal email says that Trump was supposed to send masks to 600 million American homes. Instead, he sent the masks to businesses, nonprofits, state and federal agencies. These masks, in particular, the post office was supposed to send them to King County in Louisiana, Wayne County in Michigan, and New York, which had severe cases of COVID-19 at the time. And that's for the masks being made. Hanes made 450 million masks. But instead, it went to businesses. When I saw this article, I almost lost my mind. The 600 million the masks that you're supposed to send to 600 million American homes, those who are scrambling to find face covering and masks, you could have saved somebody's life. I knew 3 people that died from COVID, including 2 pastors and 1 long-term resident. I have a former colleague who's suffering from asthma due to COVID. Like, this is bad. Learning this information, I could have had a goddamn mask for free. I pay my taxes. I'm an American citizen. Why I didn't get a free mask? Why I had to pay $25 to get 100 masks, another $5 to get a pack of masks, another $1.99 to get masks, 10 packs of masks. Why do I have to pay to get masks and gloves when I could have got masks for free? Like, I literally spent $50 to protect my ass. $50 worth of mask. $25 worth of gloves and more. Damn near almost $100 in hand sanitizer. Oh, excuse me. Let's correct that. Damn near almost $100 in mask. That includes cloth mask. Almost $100 in hand sanitizers, including hand wipes. And almost $100 in gloves. When I could have got a mask for free. Like, I literally spent $100 to protect my ass. Almost $200, let's scratch that. I almost spent $200 saving my own ass. So I'm going to rewind this again, because I know I sound repetitive because I'm mad as hell. I spent nearly $200 on masks, gloves, and hand sanitizers and alcohol when I could have got a mask for free from this bogus, dumbass, incoherent, lackey, incompetent administration. Like I said, for those who still support this man, your ass is deplorable and racist as fuck. But as I try to end this, my last topic is I saw the Biden town hall. It was really good. Big contrast from Tuesday's town hall. I did not watch Tuesday's town hall because I was doing my project. My project comes first because I pay for grad school. So, on the topic of election security, well, I'm going to start by when he said about the coronavirus that Trump needs to step down. He basically dragged Trump's ass about his handling of the coronavirus. Keep in mind, when Joe Biden was the vice president, the first term was H1N1. Biden was selected by President Obama to spearhead the task to combat H1N1, and it did not spread through the whole entire world. It's less casualties of H1N1 and less casualties in the second term of the Obama presidency of the Ebola crisis. It was only 2 casualties here in the United States versus almost 200,000 casualties in COVID-19, which could have been easily prevented. He also got into the election security question, which Anderson Cooper asked him about, how the FBI director said that the Russia is working to elect Donald Trump and denigrate Joe Biden. Do you see Russia as the enemy? And he said, no, Russia is the opponent because it's actually Putin, not the Russia country itself, not Russia itself as a country. He asked about China is opponents, that China is a competitor because they are. We are competitors in technology and education and business. And he got into more things. He explained about, creating jobs under, climate change, climate jobs, green energy jobs. Like, he basically detailed it. For those who didn't watch it, I suggest that you watch the town hall because it was really good. And it really showed a big contrast between Biden, Harris versus Trump and Pence. So I tell this to all people. And I'm going to say this, and it might offend some folks, but at this point, I don't care. Not voting for the Biden and Harris ticket will lead us into a disaster. This country will no longer be a land of democracy. It will be an authoritarian Russia 2.0. Voting for Biden and Harris will get us to clean energy, restoring our integrity in this country and around the world, going to other countries where we don't have to be looked at as the enemy. Also, good education, a better economy, pretty much our health. This COVID-19 pandemic will be no longer here. We will work hard to make sure we combat COVID-19 and do everything we can to follow the science and follow the metrics. What else? Possible better Medicaid and Medicare. Working with different people in the party, in the Democratic Party, where we could get things done. Progressives, moderates, liberals, and even some conservatives coming together to improve the lives of the American people, the 328.2 million people in this country. That is voting for Biden and Harris. So, I hope you take this message, let it sink in, and be wise. And thank you, Antonio. And until then, you guys have a good night.